T'Challa's investigation into the mysterious green orb leads to a shocking discovery. But is it the key to ultimate power or something much worse? We're going to talk about it in our review of Ultimate Black Panther number 5 from Marvel Comics. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. This is our review of Ultimate Black Panther number 5. But before we dig in, let's briefly recap what happened in issue number 4. T'Challa returned from his walkabout with Killmonger and Storm after discovering the green orb, and he returns to find that a former member of the Dora Milaje was trying to assassinate his wife, Okoye. He stopped the assassination, and he realized that there are moles within his governmental organization. So he created a very small group of allies to discover what the green orb is, why Moon Knight wants it, and what they need to do to defend Wakanda. In Ultimate Black Panther number 5, T'Challa calls for his new and smaller circle of allies to examine the green sphere uncovered by Killmonger and Storm. In issue number 3, actually, it wasn't the previous issue, it was the one before that. They spend some time analyzing it, testing it out, and Shuri can only say that it's got some powers to it, but they don't know what exactly it can do or where it comes from. But what they do find out is that when you place the sphere near vibranium and then inject it with high amounts of power, which Storm does through an experiment, they find that it causes rapid growth in organic material. This is the first time we've seen anything related to the green orb or what it can actually do. So the writer, Brian Hill, sets it up as something that's an interesting kind of mystery. But unfortunately, there's a little bit of ambiguity about it. We know the sphere boosts growth or it speeds it up in time, one or the other, not quite sure which. It makes a big difference because if it's just some kind of super fertilizer that causes all things to grow to exponential size, well, that's one thing. But if it causes everything to age and expand through time rapidly, that's something else. You get the really distinct impression that the how of it is going to play a significant factor in whatever Moon Knight is trying to do with it. Frustrated by his lack of understanding about the orb, T'Challa visits Matron Amala to press her for whatever information she and the Vodukon are hiding. He doesn't trust them. His father trusted him, but he still hasn't learned that mutual understanding and respect. Amala explains that the two meteors struck Earth many years ago, contain the opposites of each other. One meteor contains what T'Challa now knows as vibranium, which is considered an unchangeable and unbreakable element. So it's basically the concept of stagnation or non-movement. The other is the green orb, which T'Challa has now discovered accelerates growth and creates constant change and malleability of life. If Moon Knight gets their hands on the green orb, this is according to Matron Amala, they'll have the power to remake kingdoms. From Amala's description, we now know the how is critical to understanding the stakes of the story. Should Moon Knight acquire the green orb? If it's just super fertilizer, does anybody really care? Does it really matter? What are they going to do with it? Grow large crops? Are they going to feed the hungry? Are they going to end starvation around the world? That doesn't seem like a big threat or a big consequence for them obtaining the green orb. On the other hand, if it's some kind of time machine, will it create rapid aging in people? We don't know. So we're given a hint about what the green orb can do and kind of get a sense that, yeah, it is powerful, but the recognition that it accelerates growth in a vague sort of way kind of kills the idea of stakes or consequences if Moon Knight gets their hands on it. And so that's the problem with the story so far, is we don't know what Moon Knight is after, and we don't know what will happen if they get their hands on what they want. Meanwhile, we switch over to Moon Knight, and it's two people. We're not using some kind of weird pronoun association. It's Ra and Khonshu. I don't know why they're collectively known as Moon Knight. It's weird and confusing, but okay, we'll go with it. They capture a farmer from Wakanda, they torture him, and then they brainwash him to turn him into another one of the assassins. We know from the previous issue that the former Dora Milaje that attacked Okoye was actually brainwashed through Moon Knight's power. They teleport the assassin into the laboratory where Shuri is examining the green orb. A fight breaks out, and Storm eventually arrives and kills the assassin. Moon Knight then teleports the assassin back, but not before he gets his hands on at least a handful of the green orb material. Carlos Nieto's art is where this particular issue shines, because you get a pretty knockdown, drag-out fight between Shuri and the brainwashed farmer who is now turned into an assassin trying to get his hands on the green orb. It's a good fight, it's well choreographed, lots of energy, and it feels impactful. But that said, when you think about the context of the fight, that's where it brings the issue down, because Moon Knight was able to teleport this guy in, and he was able to get his hand on the green orb with pretty much no defense other than Shuri and a small dagger that she pulled out of her sleeve. So the question becomes, well, if this green orb is so dangerous, and if everything that T'Challa's trying to do is so secretive and important, why aren't there defenses in place? Shuri was unable to stop this one man. He's just a human. He might be brainwashed, but he's just a simple human. So why are there no defenses in place? No automatic gunfire, no force fields, no nothing. The guy was just basically able to fight his way into the chamber that has a green orb, grab a handful of it before he's killed, and then whisked away. It lets you down a little bit from the story perspective, even though the art that pulls it off looks great. So the issue ends with a slightly new status quo. Moon Knight has their hands on at least a sample of the green orb material. Shuri and Storm are now a little bit more of a fighting team, and T'Challa now has a sense of where the green orb came from and the potential destructive force of it. These are all interesting clues and breadcrumbs, but it's not quite coming together as a full story. Is it enough to get you hyped to come back for the next issue? Maybe. It's at least mildly curious. You want to know what the green orb can really do, what is its full potential and capabilities, and what Moon Knight tends to do with it. But you really have to kind of work to kind of get excited for that, because it's so vague and loosely put together right now. So final thoughts. What do we think about Ultimate Black Panther number 5? Everybody's turned their attention towards this green orb, which is now the major plot device that's driving this entire story forward. You see that it is powerful, and you get some intriguing moments, but there's a lack of clarity about what the green orb really does within the context of establishing the stakes of the story. And the plotting pace really kind of is not moving very far. We're at issue 5, and we still don't quite know what's going on. We know that there's a bad guy, and we know we have to keep the powerful thing away from the bad guy, but is it enough? Not really. Comic looks great. There's a cool idea at its heart, but the arc is just too slow, and the hook is just too weak. Therefore, we're going to give Ultimate Black Panther number 5 from Marvel Comics a 6 out of 10. Let us know what you think about the Ultimates, this new version of the Ultimates that Marvel has put out. Are you excited for it? Is it a winner across the board? Or is it just a little bit more of the same? I think for this title, it feels like more of the same, but I want to hear your comments about that. So leave a comment down in the description. Give us a thumbs up if you like Marvel Comics, and stay tuned through the outro for the next review.